Okay, good morning to all of you. So today we are going to discuss on the topic of the next part of this machine learning and artificial intelligence. That is the part and related part of this. The thing is, there is a topic that is that whatever this is, whatever the problem we are observing, whatever the problem on which we are working actually. So to solve that particular problem, we need to find a particular process, we need to find a particular way to get a solution. In that scenario, we may have different type of searching strategies. We need to often apply some type of searching strategies that is known as maybe forward strategies or backward propagation strategy, or maybe a mixture of both forward feed forward network and background propagation network. And these strategies will be a deciding factor to get a output. So this technique on which by which actually we are going to solve a problem, whatever the problems arises while we are working on that particular problem, the technique to solve that is known as mean end analysis. The technique is known as mean end analysis. So this mean end analysis, this is the part, this is a technique on which we are actually look different type of solutions to get an output. So this is a process that is actually finding the difference between our current state and a goal state. So this means in analysis, we can say it is a process to find the difference between the current state and the goal state. So we can say it is a process to find the difference between the current state and goal state. So current state and goal state, this type of these are the two states that we need to deal with. Current state where we are actually standing right now, what is our position right now, and goal state what we need to achieve. So what is the difference? What is the gap between the goal and the current state? Means what more we need to do to achieve or to reach our goal state. To find, to analyze that particular process, it is the technique that is mean and analysis technique that is helping us for the particular to reach out to our goal state. Here actually the problem space of this means and analysis has an initial state and has a goal state. Initial state where we are starting, goal state where we need to reach. Where so when we are having a problem, we have an output in our mind that what can be the output. We actually exempt an output in our mind. We actually visualize an output scenario from where we actually starting, and then we actually think that we are starting with this limited things. We are starting with these resources, and with the help of these resources, with the help of some techniques, some algorithms, we need to reach this particular state. We need to reach the goal state, right? So this analysis has an initial state as well as a goal state. And there is a set of operator that have some set of preconditions for their applications and different type of functions to compute the difference between the initial state and goal state. So how the thing is that how a problem using this means and analysis can be done. So a problem we can say is solved using this means and analysis. There are some criteria, right? There are some criteria, there are some parts on which it is depending that how we can solve a problem using mean and analysis. So a problem can be solved, a problem can be solved using means and analysis onto this criteria. What are the criteria? So there are 3 to 4 criteria that you are going to see. First criteria, we can say that the computation or computing the current state and the goal state and compute the difference between these two. So in short term, we can say compute the difference between current state and goal state. So we need to compute the difference between the current state and the goal state. Second one, we need to satisfy the preconditions of the operators that we have selected to reduce the difference, to reduce the gap between the current state and the goal state. Because if we cannot shorter the gap, if we cannot minimize the gap between the current and goal state, then we cannot achieve our goal state at any particular time moment, right? So to achieve that, we need to shorten the gap, we need to shorten the distance. So to satisfy, we need to satisfy some conditions on the operators that we are using to reduce the difference between the gap of current and goal state. Third one, we have to apply some type of operators if possible. And if after applying that also, if not the current state is solved or the gap between the goal state and the current state is minimized, then we need to apply some recursive procedure to reduce the goal. So next, this is another important term. So we have used the basic part to use some operand operator to minimize the gap. But if not using but if by using the operator, still if we are unable to minimize the gap, then we need to apply some recursive procedures to reach that particular goal or sub goal, to reach that particular goal or sub goal, or to reduce the gap, to minimize the gap of this goal and sub goals. So if the sub goals is solved by using some recursive process, if the sub goal is solved, then we can work or we can continue the rest of the processes. So these are some basic steps. In a very easy term, we can say that there is a basic rule, and if not, if by applying that basic rule still we are unable to solve it, then we have to look out for some different type of optimal solution. So this is a simple mean ends analysis technique on which we can actually work or solve a particular problem. Now, the thing is, this means an analysis is actually useful for some human planning activities, right? So, depending upon that, this is actually a helpful technique. This means an analysis. As an example, some we can take some real life examples also, such as suppose as an office worker. Suppose I am an office worker. So there are some rules that the office worker needs to follow, right? Suppose at a particular step, now it's morning at 10 a.m., right? 10 or 10:30, but I am hungry. So what we do if a person is hungry at 10 a.m.? That is this current state. That my current state is I am hungry. What can be the goal state? That I need to fulfill my hunger, right? So for that, either I have some food, that maybe that food is with me, or if not, if the food is not with me, then I need to buy some food from nearby stores or maybe order online. So these are some conditions. These are some conditions depending upon my current state to reach my goal state, right? So this is just a normal example I am giving, that maybe I am hungry. So in that scenario, that is my current state. To reach our goal state, that is I need to fulfill my hunger. So I need to either have some food or to buy some food or to order some food via online. So this is just an example, just a very small example, that what is the scenario, how this means and analysis can be done, right? So in this context, the part is in this context, with this help of this particular part, there is a term that is present, that is an important term that is present here, that is known as knowledge representation. This knowledge representation, the term knowledge is actually very much important term in all the scenario, in all aspects, whether from any beginning from the childhood, the things we are studying, to the age where we are still learning something, we are applying our knowledges at particular positions. That is known as a part of this knowledge representation. Now, this knowledge representation is an important factor in the part of, we can say, data science, if artificial intelligence, machine learning, everywhere. Why this knowledge representation is an important part? Let's, before people are talking it into the scenario of machine learning, data science, let's just have a quick normal real life practical examples, right? Suppose you are playing some mind trick games such as Sudoku, chess, this type of games you are playing. Now, two people are playing. One have a knowledge that how the game play. So how we can play the game? One person has the knowledge, and the second person doesn't have any type of knowledge. She just came and have started to play the game, but don't know any kind of rules, anything. Have zero idea about the game. So in this scenario, the person who have the knowledge on the game, it will be very helpful for that particular person because he knows how to play the game, what are the rules, what he can do, what he cannot. This is the thing. And by applying his knowledge, the person can try to win that particular game. And the second person that have no idea, that have zero idea, then he will play just, is what I can say, the without following any kind of rule, without having any type of knowledge, he will just play some false game, and that will don't, the person will lose very soon, right? So the thing is, whatever we are going to do, before going to deal or before going to do some task, we need have some minimum knowledge on that particular thing. Knowledge does not mean that how we can solve that. No, what are the approaches, what are the techniques can we use, that is the knowledge. Knowledge on the object, knowledge on that particular topic, right? So I am trying to solve a Sudoku. Each time, maybe the same problem, the Sudoku gets changed, but that knowledge that how the thing can be done, that is the particular knowledge. So this, if we now come back to the part of this data science, artificial intelligence, where a large amount of data is lying, we are trying to deal with a large number of data, a large amount of data, and to deal with this large amount of data, this knowledge is very important part. So to deal with this large amount of data, we need both the knowledge of the data and also the mechanism that help us to work with that particular data. So as I said, that knowledge does not mean that how we can solve the problem. It's the technique by which we can solve the problem. So the knowledge here in the case of artificial or machine learning or data science, knowledge on the data. So here the knowledge means This is one part. Knowledge means knowledge on the data. And second, the mechanism. The mechanism for creating a solution to the problem. Mechanism for creating a solution for a problem. This is a knowledge. So if we don't have the knowledge, then we cannot actually create any type of solution on it, right? Now in this part, in the variety of this knowledge representation, basically there are two entities that we look for or that we deal. There are two type of entities that we are dealing with, right? What are the two entities we are talking about here? First one is known as facts. First one is known as facts. Means this facts means the data on which we are working. Means we are considering that those data are true, and then taking into the consideration that the data is true, we are working on it, right? So the first thing, the facts, the data that we are trying to deal with. Second one, representations of that fact in some particular form, so that we can easily manipulate those data as per our needs. So representation of that particular fact. Second one, representation of that fact. Means suppose we are trying to deal with some, we are trying to make a problem, we are trying to find a solution of an image optimization. Now what happening actually, maybe as a raw data, we are getting several images, RGB images. That RGB images may have different type of noises that are present, right? But while we are actually working, we are trying to make an image optimization from that particular set of RGB images that have a high noise in the images, right? So we cannot work on that image. So that is the fact. The data are the fact that yes, these are the data on which we need to work. And second part, that representation of the facts, that now we can actually manipulate the data, we can convert those data, we can remove the noise from the data to make the data a very smooth. The data can be very smooth to work with. So that is the two parts, fact and representation of the particular fact, right? Now these entities, the structuring of these entities can be done in two different levels. The structuring of these entities can be done in two different levels. What are the two different levels? First one, we can say a knowledge level. Second one, a symbol level. So there are two things, the knowledge level, and second one, the symbol level. So these are the two levels where the entities can be structured. First one, if I'm talking about the knowledge level, where the facts are described. The data, the details of the data is described. That is known as the facts, the knowledge level. Second one, the symbol level, that the representation of those objects in the terms of some symbols and can be manipulated by the program. So the manipulation of the data, and then if there is some symbolic representations that can be manipulated by the program, that is part. The second part, that is symbol level. So one is knowledge level, second one is a symbol level. So these are the two sub levels, but means how we can actually structure this particular entity. Now these facts and the representations are actually interconnected. They are linked with some mappings that is known as representation mapping. So the facts and the representations are linked we are linked via some mappings that is known as representation mapping. So this representation mapping, the forward representation, some backward representation, it is happening. So the forward representation mappings actually maps the form facts to the representation. So here the part, the forward representation mappings maps the fact match the forms of the facts into the representation. And the second one, the backward representation mapping, the other part, the representation to facts. So forward is facts to representation. There are two scenarios, right? Let us connect two scenarios. One is fact, another one is representation. These are the two scenarios, facts and representation. Now the scenario is if we are connecting the facts with the representation and the similar way representation with the facts. So if fact to representation, that is known as forward representation. And if representation to the facts, then it is known as backward representation. So forward representation, that is facts to representation, and backward representation means representation to the facts. So this common representation, there are different type of scenarios can happen. Representation can be done with the help of the programs. So this representations and this mapping to solve a particular complex problem that encountered in the field of this machine learning, data science. What we need that a large amount of knowledge of the data and mechanism for manipulating the knowledge to create some solution. So what the two basic things, I repeat each time, each and every time, that there is two basic things. Two basic things. It is the basic things. Okay, not like that. If these things are available, then we can solve any type of problem. These are the two basic things that we need to know to solve a particular problem. Two basic things actually to solve a complex problem. What are the basic things? First one, the knowledge of the data. And what we can say, the second one, mechanism for manipulating that knowledge to create solution. Mechanism to formulate that knowledge, mechanism to manipulate that knowledge to create a solution. These are the two basic things. Then there are different other type of things, the algorithms, the process, and the data learning techniques, machine learning techniques, data science techniques, several type of things are present. But these are the very two basic things that that we need to know. Otherwise, we cannot proceed. If we don't have any type of knowledge about the data, then it is very hard to deal with that particular scenario. Now, this knowledge and this representation are two different entities, but they are actually connecting with each other. They have a link between each other. This knowledge is actually the description of the data, the description of the entities, the data entity, and it determines the system competence, how it can be done, what is the scenario. And representation is the knowledge, that how the knowledge can be implemented. So it is defining the system performance. So knowledge, system competency, representation, system performance. So if we write a simple scenario here, that knowledge is system competency, and next part is representation, that is the knowledge implementation. So representation, that is knowledge implementation. So these are the two things, knowledge and representation. So if whatever I have written here as a term of this knowledge representation, the scenario is actually this is two different things. One is knowledge, another is representation, and the whole scenario is a combination knowledge representation. So knowledge, it is known as the system competency, and representation means the knowledge implementation. Representation means the part of this knowledge implementation. Now there are different type of knowledge required for different kind of problems, right? So while different working on different type of problems, that is different type of things. Now how all the things are connected, how the things are actually connected, how the things are mapped actually, right? So if I draw a simple diagram for the connection, how it can look like, right? First of all, consider this is the facts, right? Then the representation, then we can say first it is an, maybe the best thing we can write here, internal representation. Then user representation. Okay. Now, okay, just a minute. This is the fact, internal representation, user representation. The scenario will be connected. There are some reasoning programs will be there. So the facts will be representation internally, and that will be done, or that where the things will be processed by the part of this reasoning program, by the part of this reasoning programs, right? So the programs will be reasoning programs that will be dealing with this particular part, and then it will be represented to the user. So this is just a simple mapping that we can say. So this mapping between the facts and the representation. Now this knowledge, the part of that knowledge representation have, there are different type of things on which this knowledge representation model or the mechanism is actually depending. The knowledge representation actually depends on some particular scenario, particular parameters. What are the parameters? Parameters on which knowledge representation parameters on which knowledge representation model depend. So what are the parameters on which this is actually depending? First one, we can say the first thing, that is our logic. Second one, rules. Third one is frame, and fourth one is semantic net. So first one is logic, second one is rules, third one is called frame, and fourth one is called semantic net. So these are the four parameters on which this knowledge representation actually depends. Now this knowledge was categorized in two major parts. What are these two major parts? One we can say that is corresponding to informal or implicit, and second one is the explicit. So implicit knowledge and explicit knowledge. So this knowledge can be categorized into two parts. Knowledge can be categorized into two parts. One, implicit, second one, explicit. So implicit knowledge and explicit knowledge, this type of two knowledge can be categorized. Now talking about the first part, that is implicit knowledge or informal knowledge, that is, this is exist inside a human being that already have the knowledge. So it is existing, or this implicit knowledge exists within the human being, And it is difficult, not actually very much difficult, but hard to still means whatever the knowledge, what knowledge is inside in our body, in our head, that is very difficult to steal, right? Because it was nothing, any paper made, nothing stored in any paper. It is stored inside our brain. So it is very difficult to store, to actually steal that particular implicit knowledge. And this implicit knowledge, this was actually drawn from the experiences in our past, actions, subjectives that we are happening, that what we have learned in from our past experiences in a very simple word. So this implicit knowledge means the things totally that will be present inside our body, inside our brain, and it will be stored with me, and it cannot be steal or copy, but things we can share. But it is very hard that all the things we cannot share, means it is very hard actually to share all the things that is in our head, right? Now the second part, that is known as explicit type of knowledge, that it lies outside the human body, and it can be shared, it can be copied, it can be a very easy to steal or copy. Means why? The thing is, it is not into our human brain or thing. It was outside that human body, means it is some subjected to papers, it was stored in some papers, it was stored in some file, it was stored in some folders, and that's why it is very easy to it is very easy to crack that, to steal that. So means the implicit and explicit knowledge, implicit that is inside with us, and explicit that is not in our body or not in our brain. So there is different type of representation of the knowledge was present into the field of the data science. And the entities that we have, different kind of entities that we have talked about, that one is a fact, second one is the representation, and these entities have two type of labels we have talked about. Now this framework, how this knowledge representation, the framework of this knowledge representation can be done. So we are dealing, whatever we are trying to solve, that is totally on a system, right? A high-end PC, a simple term we can use, a high-end PC. So these PCs, the systems requires a well-defined description of the process and have a good problem space to find a solution of a particular problem. And to do that, we need several type of data, several type of algorithms, several type of techniques. And to collect that particular fragments of knowledge, we need a first to formulate a description in our several type of system scenario, right? So this computers, what is the scenario if we talk about that there are four different entity: problem, solution, output, representation. So we have the problem. The first thing, we have the problem. So problem, solution, representation, and output. These are the four terms that are related, linked to each other. Problem, right? Solution, then we can say representation and output. So these are the four terms: problem, solution, representation, and the output, and these are actually interconnected with each other. So problems, how to solve the particular problem, so that who going us, connecting us with the solution. Then the solution will be coming as an output, and the representation of the output to the user part is an important scenario. So this is a framework, and that all are connected: problem, solution, output, representation. The how means now the representation has two scenarios: one, the problem representation, and the solution representation. The two different scenarios. Problem representation, why? Because if we don't represented our problem clearly, then then the person will not be able to solve it. As an example, I'm saying, suppose I am telling you Fibonacci series. Now the question is that there are a lot of things can be done with Fibonacci series. We can write a program in C, we can write a program in Java, we can write a program in Python, we can write a program in MATLAB. We can do a numerical scenario, we can do a detailed explanation on the Fibonacci. So we can do several things. But the thing is the representation. So we need a clear representation on our problem statement. So that is why the problem representation is also important part, as well as solution representation. And then the solution and output are connected or are actually interrelated with each other. So problem, solution, output, and representations all are actually connected with each other, right? So up to this particular part, we are going to talk and discuss today. The rest of the part will continue in our next classes, right? So this up to this particular part, we have talked, we have discussed. So thank you all for joining into the session. I would like you all to write your names in the chat box for the attendance purpose. I forget that. So all of you kindly write your names in the chat box for the attendance purpose, please. Okay, so whatever we have discussed today, the rest of the part, yes, Manisha.
सर मनीष कुमार ने गलती से लिखा गया
Wait a minute.
अटेंडेंस में
ठीक है. Okay, fine. No issue. Okay, so thank you all for joining into the session. Take care and stay safe. We will meet in our next class. Okay, fine. So thank you. All of you can leave. And one more thing, that I have shared a link into the group that have an event on 11 and 12. So I hope all of you have registered there, and all of you need to take your selfie, as it means the selfie. You are all very good at it. I hope so. So means where it is very much visible, or we can see that you are watching that particular session. So not that particular screenshot of that particular session. Okay, so don't take any screenshot of that particular session. Image where it will be visible that you are actually looking into that particular session. So if you people already registered on it, then no issue, and if not, then kindly register it by today. So according to that, because all the images from each and every person needs to be present, I need all the image from each and every person, as and that will be carried extra mark as an extracurricular activities, or that will be going on to the through different type of situation, right? Okay, so thank you all for joining into the session. Take care, stay safe.